Hari Om and welcome to all the Divine Atma Jyotis. Today, let us chant and contemplate on 17.27. Padmaji, can you please help us with the chanting and the initial meaning?
Yes, sir. Yajñe tapasi dāne च sthitiḥ sthitiḥ chochyate karma chaiva tad-arthīyaṁ evābhidhīyate. Yajñe tapasi dāne च sthitiḥ sthitiḥ chochyate karma chaiva tad-arthīyaṁ evābhidhīyate. Being established in the performance of sacrifice, penance, and charity is also described by the word sat. And so, any act for such purposes is named sat. Yajñe in sacrifice, tapasi in penance, dāne in charity, ch and sthitiḥ established in steadiness. Sat, the syllable sat, iti, thus, ch and uchyate is pronounced, karma, action, ch and eva, indeed, tad-arthīyam, for such purposes. Sat, the syllable sat, sat, iti, thus, eva, indeed, abhidhīyate is described.
Thank you very much, Padmaji. So performing of yajna, tapas and dana is also called as sat, is what Sri Krishna is saying. How do you relate to this? Who would like to begin first? Padmaji, you only want to begin?
Okay, sir. Here, sacrifice, penance, and charity, that is yajna, dana, and tapas. Lord Krishna is speaking about that. But how do we do this three? In our life, when we perform a sacrifice, penance, or charity, how should we do it? I think that is what he's talking about. So being established is being established in what should we perform these sacrifices. So I think being established in the oneness, where there is no separation. If there is no separation, then we won't do it as an activity to satisfy our ego or because the world prescribes it. It will be done with a pure bhava of devotion, true devotion. And when you perform such activities with pure devotion and sincerity in the heart, then that also is equivalent to the truth itself, sat itself. So for any act that is performed in this manner, I think that is also equivalent to being in the truth or being in the, the oneness with the Supreme is what I understood from this. So sacrifice, penance, and charity here doesn't refer to the yajna or what we do, but it also applies in our daily activities. For example, if I take my own example and I am a housewife, so when I am, say I do my activities, I am cooking for everyone. So that is also in a way penance or charity, but I don't have the ego there that I am doing this, I am doing that. It is not like that. It is for the collective benefit of my family, because I have there is one I have to provide nourishing for this. It is my duty. But when I do this activity um, with a devotional bhava that I am serving the divine in you, then I think it elevates to that. However, if I do the same activity with, oh, see how much I am doing for you, or I am cooking only for you, that kind of activity, even if I do it many times, it doesn't elevate in that way. But if I do it with a sense that, okay, I am serving the divine in you, there is no ego or I mean, I don't know how to put it, but where there is no doership. I don't claim doership that I did this because of me or getting food. All these kind of uh, bhavas are not there, but it is done with a service bhava. Then I think it elevates to Sat itself.
Excellent. And how do you relate to the title of the chapter? Shraddha, Traya, Vibhaga, Yoga.
Shraddha is faith, no sir. Shraddha is having faith. Faith in what? Faith in the universe itself, I think. Because what I have observed in my life is the wherever there has been a lack in the trust that everything is for my good, whatever is happening is the best thing for me, wherever that the lack I have experienced in that, or where I didn't have the complete faith that it is for my good, there all I have experienced suffering. Is my personal experience. So if you have the trust and the shraddha and faith that whatever is happening is only the best that can happen to me, the suffering is gone, I feel. So whatever comes to you, then the judgment is also not there, because you already have that trust that it is only for my best. The judgment will get reduced, that, oh, why this is happening to me, why that is happening to me, or I will stop labeling it as good or bad, or the result of what. All these thoughts will get minimized and eliminated. So that is what for me Shraddha means. Shraddha, Traya, Vibhaga. What are the three
Yeah, just like how there are three gunas, there is in faith also, in Shraddha also, there is tamasic Shraddha, rajasic Shraddha, and sattvic Shraddha.
Sattvic Shraddha.
So, Traya Vibhaga.
So if I have to talk about, say, tamasic Shraddha, it could be something like, okay, I don't have to do anything, everything will happen even if I sit idle. I think it is referring to something like that. That is not a right kind of Shraddha. Because when you have complete trust in the universe, or in a higher power, or in the supreme, it doesn't mean that you will just sit idle and everything will happen on its own. Nothing will happen like that. Same thing with the rajasic Shraddha is, you have trust, but it is not complete trust. So you will try to do, oh no, I have to do this, then only this will happen. That kind of, I think the doership is more there. Whereas when it is a sattvic Shraddha, it is a correct balance between Shraddha and the action that you are performing. For example, you have a trust that yes, it is all will be well, but at the same time you are not sitting idle and waiting for it to happen. There is, whatever you have to do, you will do there, whatever is your duty. For example, if I am a student, the result is not under my control, but I can study, I can give my best in that situation by focusing on my studies, doing whatever is needed, and then I go and write the exam also. But then I am not worried about the result, because for whatever action I have done, I have the Shraddha or the faith that only best will happen to me. So there is also automatically an acceptance comes to whatever is going to come back to you as a result of that action. There is one complete acceptance of that this is what was best for me. So that is what it happened. That kind of, so that is how I see it as all the three Shraddhas, sir.
Excellent. Very nice, Padmaji. Sarvananji, would you like to take up next?
Yeah, sure. No, still, what exactly we mean by Vibhaga? Is
Vibhaga is separation.
Separation.
So, see, okay, is faith, Shraddha, something that you learn, or is it innate?
I'm sorry?
Is Shraddha, faith, is it something that you learn as you live through your life, or is it something that is innate, something that is natural to you?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you feel?
Yeah, Shraddha is something that is innate. Like the best example we give is when a baby is born. Like when the mind is not set for the baby, it has the baby doesn't think about believing or trusting. It just looks at the mom and the way the baby is relation to mom. I think that's the best example we give.
So there is a complete trust. There is a complete vishwasa.
Yes.
Right? And that vishwasa is not something that it has learned.
No.
It is born with
there. It is there. Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So Shraddha is innate. So, however, what happens as one starts living life, depending upon the impressions, the way the Shraddha manifests in the world can be seen like how gunas manifest. Even Shraddha can be seen in manifesting in three distinct ways. So the tamasic Shraddha is a very blind faith.
Blind faith.
Blind. A darkness. So I have faith. For example, I by going and doing some magical things, I can cause something that is disturbing me. Some person, I can remove them from my way. Or like example Padmaji gave, I will just sleep. I have given the kanike and everything will be taken care. So there is a like the classical story that you may have heard. So there is this father who's keeping who always chants Holy Father, Holy Father, and he has a very deep faith that he will come and save him any situation. Once it so happens that there is a flood, and in that particular place also the flood is raising, water is raising. He goes to the top of the roof and he's praying, "Oh Father, save me, oh Father, save me." And then there is one boatman coming and he says, come, I will catch you. You just jump, I will catch you. He says, no, I'm waiting for my father. So he goes away. Then after some time, an helicopter, a rescue team comes. That fellow also says, he puts a ladder and says, come up. He says, no, I'm waiting for my father. So like that, things go up, and it so happens that the water rises and he dies. And he meets his father in the heaven, whoever that fellow is. And he asks, I was praying for you so desperately. All my life I had such a deep faith on you. Why didn't you come? The father says, I came in the form of the boatman. I came in the form of that helicopter man. Why did you not see me there? So, Shraddha, when it is blind faith, without clarity, it becomes tamasic. Then Rajasic is all about, like how Padmaji put, there's a lot of egocentric faith. So,
my God.
You have faith.
Yeah.
So best example is Ravana. So Ravana wanted all of it for himself. So the Bhukailasa story, he went and prayed to Shiva for Atmalinga, but he wanted to keep it for himself. So there's a lot of egocentric, for me, kind of faith. Whereas Sattvic, the best example is Vibhishana. So a balanced faith. So he knows the reality of Rama only because his mind is Sattvic. Only a Sattvic mind. Sattvic mind means what? If you look at these three, they are nothing but levels of grossness. Gross to subtle. Grossest is tamasic. There is only awareness of the physical. Everything is physical. There is nothing beyond physical. There is no comprehension or awareness of subtle. It is like you would have seen some people eat food. You know, for them, lot of salt, lot of sugar, lot of spice is needed. Then only they say it is nice. Otherwise, what is this? No salt only. How can you make food without salt? But a very subtle, you know, someone who is very subtle, even slight addition or deletion of salt, they can detect. So you can say in that, in terms of taste, the subtlety, the grosser your senses are, the more you're tamasic. The subtler your senses, the subtle taste, the subtle sound, the subtle smell, your mind needs to be calm. Right now, in order to see how the speech itself is originating, when do you become aware of the speech? Some may say only when you hear the sound. But you hear the sound after it has been spoken and it has come back through your ears into your mind. Whereas speech actually began within you. So are you aware of the speech beginning from within you? When it begins within you, it begins at a very subtler realm. So it's like how from silence sound comes. So if you see from how silence sound comes and how again it goes back into silence, then you can see all the three levels. From the subtlest to the grossest, and again back to the subtlest and going into stillness. So when can you resist all this? Only when your mind is peaceful. So Sattvic mind means what? A peaceful mind. Or in other words, a subtler mind. Meaning what? The subtler things also can be recognized. So through this chapter, therefore, Sri Krishna is helping us recognize how faith itself manifests in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And how the right kind of faith can elevate us.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we need to understand what is the right tapa, what is the right dāna, and what is the right yajña. The tapas means burning.
Mm-hmm.
What are you burning? One can only burn ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
In life, nothing else can be burned. So, therefore, the right discipline that you imbibe within you to bring out the right action in the world, the right thought process, to cultivate the right thought process. Again, what is right action? The performance of yajna is the right action. But to perform that, you have to cultivate the right thought. How do you cultivate the right thought? By receiving the right jnana. And how do you cultivate that? You have to also speak, isn't it? Because speech manifests your reality. So you have to cultivate right speech. So right thought, right action, right speech is the true tapa. Right means what? That which is truth. So live in accordance to truth. Satyam vada dharmam chara. Speak only the truth and conduct only in accordance to truth. And that is why Sri Krishna is saying here, when such a tapa is there, that is also sat only, that is also truth only. Because in that tapa, there is nothing but divine only. Because you can then see the completeness from where it is all manifesting and from where and to where it is all dissolving. So then what is right dāna? So right dāna is one which is done without any expectation to the right person at the right time. And person need not be a person. To the right being at the right time. So there is therefore right dāna and incorrect dāna, apatra dāna. So just because you have money, you go on giving it to every beggar you see on the street, you're only going to cultivate the feeling or the attitude of beggars are begging in the society. What is the right dāna then? Is giving money because you have money? So people say, I'm giving charity. What is the charity you are giving? Are you giving the fish so that you keep making that person always dependent on you? Or are you teaching them to fish? And to who are you teaching the fishing? Oh, my family. Oh, my community. So what are you doing? So the right dāna is that there is a wonderful story in Mahabharata. Arjuna goes to Krishna. Everybody praises this fellow called Karna. He is on the Kaurava side. Why do they praise him? So he says, come tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning, Krishna and Arjuna, and Krishna shows one golden mountain. And he says, today this is yours. You distribute it to others. By the evening, you have to complete the job. So he beats the dangura and thousands of people line up. And he is with his hand giving parts of it. Come, I will give you, I will give you, I will give you. And the evening happens, he has only consumed only this much of the mountain. Fraction of the mountain. And he's so tired. But, oh, I did it. I did so much. So he comes and tells to Krishna. Krishna says, okay. So again he says, come tomorrow also. Tomorrow, he has Karna also. He gives the same instruction to Karna. This is yours. You have to give it by evening. Karna says, thank you. He looks around. He sees two fellows walking. He calls them, come here. And he takes water. And he says, this has been given to me by Krishna. And with all my mind and heart and body, I offer it to you. Now this is all yours. You can do whatever you like. And he bows down to them and to Krishna and he walks away. So we have to see what is the right dāna. Dāna where...
But here you may...
Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, that question may come, right? You said that apatra dāna. Did that thought...
Yeah, so this is to illustrate the concept of dāna.
Yeah, but...
Of course, you have to apply discretion. Yeah. So therefore, there are two aspects. Apatra dāna. So are you able to distinguish between patra and apatra dāna? And then what is the attitude or the thought process behind the dāna?
Yeah, looks like it's going back to the attitude.
So that story to illustrate the attitude. part.
Attitude. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Got it.
And then, of course, that is where the highest, yajna is the highest. All along in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna has been talking about yajna.
Yeah.
Okay. Yajna means total selfless offering to the entirety. So therefore, he has given us fivefold yajnas.
Panchamaha.
Panchamaha yajna. So anything that is done, see, because if you see all of this, tapa, dana, yajna, there are actions, right? There are conduct in the world. There are something that you're doing in the world, right? To do something, there is a thought process behind. So there is a thought and there is a doing. So any doing also is sat only when it is of this nature. So therefore, sarvam khalvidam brahma, even doing is also Brahman only. Sat means what? Truth. Truth means what? That which does not change time to time, place to place. So why Krishna is saying this type of conduct is also Sat? These are nothing but dharma only, the natural order in the existence. Tapa, dana, yajna is dharma only. Dharma means what? Conduct. The right conduct. Conduct in accordance to existential principles. So when it is tapa, dana and yajna, it is accordance to dharma. And dharma is also truth only. Because it is consciousness only that manifests in the world as dharma. So consciousness is that unmoving principle, as well as it is in movement, it can be felt in movement through these kinds of right actions.
Vijayji,
Yes, Rupaji.
what are these patra and apatra danas?
Simple. So let's take an example of food. So let's say I want to offer food. To who should I offer food? Oh, any hungry person. So I go, I see in front of a temple or some street, there is some fellow who looks atta, but is for the sake of it, has put a band-aid and simply, okay, give me. So is that the right dana to that person? By giving food to such a person, what are you encouraging in the society? So having this discrimination is patra and apatra dana.
Is a symbolic word for like know the vessel to give.
Yeah, to who you are giving. So there are two aspects, not to who you are giving and with what attitude you are giving. Fundamentally, you have to look at your own attitude of giving. Your attitude of giving should be where you should not expect anything back. And when you are, for example, when you sit and close your eyes and say, somebody out there, so many people are suffering. So many animals are suffering. With what? With so many things that are happening. Take the example of Ukraine war. Now, Ukraine war has nothing to do with you in terms of your day-to-day life. But when you can sit and wish the well for them, that's also kind of a dana. Because that much of time and that much of energy you have invested in offering it to the betterment of those people. So like that, the attitude of the dana and to who you offer, both have to be, you have to be aware. So the first aspect is to help you to be free, the attitude of dana. The second aspect, patra, apatra, you have to still discriminate in life. Because with what you do, you can cultivate the right conduct in the society. Is that bringing clarity, Rupaji?
Yeah, but like someone comes for alms, but we are not able to. We can see that they are doing it deliberately. They can work, but they are begging. But we are not able to.
I'll tell you the story of one wonderful person. In Sevak, every year we give what is called as Sevak of the Year. So there is this girl called Swati Bondia. So I'm telling the story of Swati Bondia's life when she was about, I think, 21. She was doing her MBA. So at the junction of a street, she was in a car and she saw a little girl coming to her and saying, Didi, Didi, mujhe paisa do. She looked at the child and she felt, Are yaar, this is such a small child, let me not give money. She happened to have some biscuits and chocolates and she wanted to give that. She said, Didi, Didi, nahi, mujhe paisa hi do. Mujhe paisa hi chahiye. I want money only, not this food. So for whatever reason, look at how divine works. So for whatever reason, Swati that day felt a little suspicious and she said, nahi, main tumhe paisa nahi dungi. But she wanted to know what this little girl, why is she begging and where she lives. Suddenly that feeling came into her. So she followed her and what she found out is that there are many such people who live in a shack in the city. They all have migrated from some place in India. Maybe that in that story, by the way, this is something that really happened. So these people were from Rajasthan. So she went there. She saw that there's a shack and the parents of this girl also are there. So she went and started speaking to them. They said, very, very sad that we are begging. We really don't want to beg. But right now, I am not able to make a living. I don't know what to do. And I and my wife, we are very embarrassed to go and beg. Nobody gives us, even we are okay to beg, but nobody gives us money. So we send our little child. So then Swati asked them, what is that you can do? What is that you're good at? So they are from this doll making, from all these various mud and other things. So they make dolls. So what she did was, okay, I will help you. Okay, so Swati was doing her MBA, right? So she thought, okay, this can be a good social entrepreneurship project. So she said, okay, you give 2-3 dolls. The same place where the child was standing, tomorrow we will stand and we will sell. So they made some dolls, they went there. Instead of today begging, they started standing at that same junction and started saying, okay, we have doll, come and buy. Not that it was a roaring sale, but by the evening, some sale happened. Then Swati thought, this model of standing there and yelling may not be a good model. What else I can do? Then she thought, okay, let me take the same dolls and go to these, there are all these big hotels and hospitality centers where you can see they usually keep a lot of dolls and other things, right? Which embellish the artistic feeling in that place, maybe drawing, dolls, so many craft items. So she thought, okay, let me see if anybody wants to buy. So she went there. Swati herself is a nicely dressed lady. Okay, so very well spoken. Okay, so she went there and she started selling, and lo and behold, very soon they started buying. And now she came back, and not only that family, she said, okay, many other families which were around, she said, I will give you employment, but now you have to do this kind of a work. So most of them very willingly started participating. So like that, today, she runs that whole business. Not that every beggar has that real feeling of I want to work. Some have truly taken into the feeling of begging. You know, the tamasic, they become so lazy with it. It's so easy just to go and extend hand and take something and go and drink or eat, done for the day. But she recognized what she can do with her dana. See, she did the dana, right? But this dana elevated. She has become a TED speaker. In Sevak, we recognized her as the Sevak of the Year. So, such is the power of the right dana. So, therefore, when you see, you see what is the right thing to do. It's not that, to everybody who begs, you have to give. See, many a times your child also comes to beg you, for example, something that they're really fond of, chocolate or something. They keep on begging, they make faces, they plead. Will you give? No. Why? Because it is not good for their health. So just because it's your own child and he is also or she is also begging, you will not simply give, no. You will apply your discretion. You will apply your viveka. So that is patra dana, apatra dana. So do not give to apatra, the one who doesn't deserve.
Okay, the same thing happens here also. Once I and my husband were going on a walk, and we saw in front of us a car stopped, and that was the place where no one was there. So it was a road only, but no one was there. So the car stopped there, and around 5 to 6 beggars got down from the car. They actually they were asked to go in different places, and they were divided. So they went as per the instructions given to them. And they come here every day. One or the other person comes and begs. So I feel that it is their helplessness, and I give them. So
for example, sometimes you may not be able to help them. For example, if at all any institution where like Swati Bondia's institution, she actually considers people like that. If they're willing, she trains them and she helps them. So sometimes I've asked beggars, some beggars. Initially I was also inspired by her story, and I asked, especially in Bangalore, where we travel on the Kanakpura road, there's a Saraki signal. There's usually one beggar who comes with one thing around his hand, and usually keeps a stick and usually puts one leg behind and keeps limping and coming for begging. So every day he would come. Initially, 1 or 2 days I gave 1 or 2 rupees. Then he would come. Then I asked him once, I have somebody who can help you to be empowered. She can change your life. So next day also he came. Some 2-3 times I told that whenever I would stop in the junction, even if he sees me, somehow he would avoid my eye contact and he would walk to some other car.
Okay.
So I cannot force him. But the one who truly has the intention to work, you can help. So now that way, see, you have limited money, limited time, limited resources. And it should be of the right value in the world.
But it is difficult to discriminate, no, Vijayji. How will we know?
Correct. At that moment, you have to, like I said, yeah, see, sometimes it may be genuine. But when I look into that person, you know, I could see a tall, hefty person.
Maybe I would say instinct.
Yeah.
I think
Huh.
can go with instinct. Yeah.
Of course, you know, there are very old people who also come onto the street to beg because their children have abandoned them. And there are many institutions where they take such old people, but sometimes for whatever reason, they have become very helpless. So if you have, please help. Better than just you giving money, see if you can enable them to be enrolled into some institution where they can help. That way it becomes a better help. That is why, if you see, among everything, the yajna is given the highest value, and among the yajnas, rishi yajna is given the highest. Because it's only rishi yajna that can help somebody become truly free from all kinds of begging in life. In one sense, whenever I do anything for my sake, I am also a beggar. I want food, I want money, I want power, I want status. It's a begging only. But my begging is a slightly sophisticated begging. So the only thing that can remove that kind of a beggar attitude is rishi yajna. Is the truth, is the realization of the truth. So therefore, among the yajnas, rishi yajna is the highest, because it is that which you can offer and it keeps growing. Whereas any other kind of, let's say, dāna, how much money you have and how much you can really give, how much food you have, how much you can give. You have the heart to help, but can you offer food to everybody on this world, in this world? You cannot. So therefore, discrimination. Of course, you have to give something material also. Your food, your clothes, your money, offer. Because it helps to evolve. But when you're offering, see to who you are giving. Maybe, celebrate the birthday in an orphanage. Maybe celebrate the birthday in an old age home. That way, you're encouraging dāna as well as yajna, as well as you will have the utmost satisfaction. Because when you take a child to a old age home, and when those elders bless, they mean it from the heart, and the child feels it from the heart.
And we would also be teaching something good that they can apply in their life too when they grow up.
Absolutely. Many meaningless birthdays are celebrated. Take some 20 children to a big party hall or some so-called fun zone. Meaninglessly they're eating, meaninglessly they are spending their time. And they all ask, did you have a good time? The child is so exhausted, screaming, yelling, yeah. But what is that they learned out of that? Anything else you want to say, Sarananji?
The way I see it is this sloka basically tells about how to live. Almost that's how I see it, because living, I get involved in karma, right? And then the question is, what is a meaningful karma? And the way I see it from this is a karma that is associated with that leads to either yajna, tapas, dāna, right? And that basically becomes a meaningful karma, meaningful life. And I was thinking as I was listening, reading, how can I give? Which means I will have to take, I will have to get something to give. And so looks like the answer that came to me is when the attitude is tuned towards giving, I become a conductor. And if I become a pure conductor, things will come because it knows that it will go. So the point is becoming a pure conductor, so that be a conduit for the energy to flow, for the so that the presence of any ego is basically lack, and that lack needs to be filled, and for filling you become the conductor and giving.
I would like to just add one example, an excellent point you made. For example, in the home, when will the air flow? Only when you have all the windows and the doors open. If you close the windows and the doors, what happens to the air inside? It becomes stale. I mean, whose health are you spoiling? Your own health. Only by opening the windows and the doors, naturally things flow. This very existence is a flow. Excellent point, Sarvanji.
Yeah. I think so. That's the truth. Now I can see. I didn't realize like it is being mentioned here. Om Sat Tat Sat here. Yeah. So what is the truth? Finally, is a simple one shloka gives that. Yeah. Perfect one.
Very nice.
Yep,
Padmaji wants to. Yes, sorry, Sarvanji.
Padmaji has
raised the hand. Okay.
Point.
Yes, Padmaji.
Yeah, sir, this is relating to the beginning of the conversation that started with Saravananji. I put it in the chat also because otherwise I'll forget. So you were saying, you were asking a question about is Shraddha innate or it is something you are cultivating. So my question is relating to that it can also be cultivated, right?
Correct.
Why I am asking that question is, you gave the example of a baby. The baby, in a baby, the ego is completely absent, right? So the faith is also complete. And it is not just towards the mother, it is to anyone who comes in contact with the baby. There is no judgment. There is no like, he is right, she is right. The baby willingly goes to everyone without any reservations or anything. Okay. But sorry, as the child grows up and all the conditioning colors the mind, the faith can go down. That is where it starts to discriminate, even like who I should trust, or whether I should trust completely, depending upon whatever it is hearing or it is seeing or it is experiencing.
But Padmaji, I just want to make a point here. In one of the talk, Guruji mentioned, egos cannot stand in front of egoless. Okay, so only when there is ego, the other ego also stands up to face. And a baby is egoless, and that's why even it is difficult for someone to harm, in the sense the presence of a baby changes the atmosphere, right? Changes the environment.
But Padmaji's point is, how is it something that can be cultivated? So what is your question, Padmaji?
But cultivated is also, to me, mind is involved, right? You are applying your mind.
See, Sarvananji, what I'm trying to say is, this is an example of a baby which was given, so I'm taking it up. Otherwise, even in our own cases, if we go through many say negative experiences in life, according to us, it's all negative, it's all bad experience.
You take it.
We might
take it as a negative experience.
So what I'm trying to say is, our faith can go down. It is not to the extent that we had as a baby, okay? But that same negative experience can also start having, I mean, the change or the result, if your mind is able to understand through the spiritual
So
studies,
you
that
start taking it
have,
with you
it can
all over the
again
place.
be cultivated back to the level that it was before, is what I'm saying. Because I have experienced that, like the trust I have in the universe or in a supreme power today may not be the same that I had 4 or 5 years back. I had some, even though I had a trust, I had a faith,
Yeah.
it was not the, it was not
I would
the
not say it.
supreme kind
Maybe I
of,
will use a different
faith,
way,
okay?
not cultivated.
It was
Maybe
not complete.
given
Okay.
with the knowledge that you basically erase the wrong impressions. Maybe I will put it that way.
So,
Yeah,
Padma,
that's what I'm
is
saying.
that, do you have a question, or are you adding some statements?
No, I am saying, sir, so is faith can be cultivated? Is that right also? Like
If you
it
look
is innate, but can it also be cultivated?
Okay, so let's understand that a little clearly. See, what does cultivation mean? For example, do you know the table of 23? 23 ones are 23 twos are. Let's assume you do not know, you have not learned it. Then, somebody can come and teach you and it can be cultivated, right? Okay. But here, by the word cultivation of the faith, what we need to understand is faith is innate. That trust in the universal principles is innate, is you are born with. The Shraddha is innate, is natural to all beings. However, like you rightly said, depending upon the conditioning of the mind may exhibit the faith as tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic. So therefore, there is a prism, there is a white light. White light is like the faith. But when it goes to the prism, it may come out in one of the rainbow colors. You will see the rainbow colors. So like that is the expression of it in the world. So therefore, what is that we mean by cultivation here?
Recognizing.
One is recognizing. Second is cultivation from tamasic to sattvic.
Sattvic, okay.
Only by raising to the sattvic level, meaning what? Subtlety. How do you raise someone from being very gross to subtle? Take the
Through
example.
jnana.
But before jnana can happen, mind has to be receptive to jnana.
Correct.
Because somebody is so involved in activity, no? They should at least recognize that there is something through learning which I can come out of my misery, right? But how does one recognize that? Because all along life has taught you, society has taught you, do something, you get something.
Correct.
But jnana says, no, you already have it. So how can your mind recognize it unless your mind is subtle enough? So first of all, therefore, you have to cultivate the subtleness in the mind, or sattvic nature of the mind. How do you cultivate? Through seva. So what is seva? So that is where the Guru gives us the path. So Guru says, Satyam vada dharmam chara. That is the right tapas. Always say the truth and conduct the right way. As an initial training, right? So that's why if you see, there are levels. Even in our Upadesha Saram, the loud chanting, mental chanting, silent
And then meditation.
are different levels, right?
Yeah.
And doing an external puja to an internal upasana to be established, these three levels, right? So that is cultivation. Okay, moving from tamasic to sattvic is cultivation. And then only through right jnana, the transcendence happens to recognize that all the three are in me, then I have the power to choose, and I am beyond.
Which one?
So in that context, cultivation has to be understood here.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is that bringing clarity?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir.
Just, yeah, the reason I interrupted is I want to give example from my daily work life, though it's a work related one, but I want to bring it here. So when I like hire new engineers, when new engineers join my team, so I don't know how and why it started. At some point of time in my life, I started telling them the first day, the first statement I used to tell them is like, I will start by trusting you 100%. So you don't have to worry about like starting all over to establish yourself to me. I trust you 100% and only you can bring it down. Okay. And I saw few engineers, like very experienced ones. Like one of them used to say that, no, these people who manage us from America, they will they will not understand us, and I have suffered a lot from my ex managers, ex companies. So he had so much negativity uh, about from the past. So to me, it was like he walks in every day with that baggage of negativity, and I had to tell him many times for long to say that just drop that. I am telling you, and I am going to trust you, and like if you can drop that, you will be very honest in what you say to me, or like how you do things. Otherwise you are always wearing that glass and saying like, okay, I have to be very careful, I otherwise I will get cheated, otherwise I will get hurt, right? So it took almost 2 years, 3 years for that person to realize that, oh, looks like maybe, yeah, somebody some I can trust someone. And then the way that person interacted was very different. So to me it is like that by growing, I think because of that one experience, I feel like we just like people carry that negative thing and completely lose that innate uh, trust which we started with. And so that's why I said like it is, to me it's not cultivating but erasing it or dropping it, so that you are free again. And when you trust, I think it is difficult for someone to harm you. It is there cannot be another ego standing there. You be egoless, and everyone it's a very different feel. That's this is from my experience, what I saw. I just wanted to.
Excellent example, Sarmanji. Only one point, the word cultivation are dropping. So you cultivate the completeness, or you drop to nothingness.
Drop something else.
Okay, so therefore, the true cultivation is true dropping.
Yeah, because it's not something we are developing. I'm not going to develop something.
However, from the standpoint of that tamasic ego, there is still a cultivation. I have to cultivate.
Yeah.
So therefore, cultivation has to be used in that way.
I know, I realized, I noticed it. Yeah. I agree on that part. Yeah.
Vijay, to add to that, I just wanted to tell, see, it happens because like, maybe it is because of our experiences, like whatever we have faced. So most of the time, I mean, maybe it's our, as you say, it is our innate nature, but still because of the experiences, we feel like, though we don't want to doubt, but somewhere that, I mean, comes in. So actually, I understand that we should have that undoubted faith, but due to different
No, that is not what is being said. It's absolutely okay to doubt. Please realize, it is not about changing the natural way the mind asks questions. only thing is, what is a doubt? For example, somebody is begging in front of you. What is a doubt in that context means, okay, is this the right person to whom I should be helping?
Correct.
In that sense, doubt, okay, so this fellow is a beggar, these people are like that only. So all that mental chatter is not needed. So you use your mind ability to question in the natural direction of, should you do this or not? Use your discretion, but don't keep on in the mind complaining about it.
Actually, one point there, like, let's say one had a bad experience. Should that be carried for rest of the life and applied in every other situation? Oh, I had it now. Isn't that like
learn from the mistake? No, Sarananji, you have kept your hand in the fire, burnt it. Next time, be careful.
Yeah.
Not at all to say that, oh, again, I have faith, I'll keep my hand in the fire. No, it is not to say that. It is for you to learn. So from your past, what is that I can learn? Is always the question, because you cannot change the past. So learning is what guides your current.
Oh, yeah. So if it is obvious, yes. Okay. Where it's not obvious,
then you have no choice but to act and figure out. Like a small child doesn't know the fire, puts the hand in the fire. If the child is lucky, some elder is there, immediately draws out, and through some other example may be able to illustrate. Otherwise, the child will get burnt. What can you do about it?
Jaiji, like one more situation is like, see, our willingness would be there to help, okay, genuinely. But there are at times situations like, say, suppose one person is, falsely expressing that they have some problem or such things like that. So then it is difficult for us to, understand whether it is really genuine or not. So our intention would be to help, but we don't know whether we are helping the right kind of people.
So therefore, there is no way for you to know. So that is where, like the Karna story that we just now spoke about, and when Karna gave that, what was his attitude? I am not the owner. I am only a conductor. It came to me through Krishna, and I'm offering it to some people. Okay, and there his mental impression ended. It came to me and I've offered. That's all. His mental impression ended. I am not the doer. And that is where Sarananji asked, was it the right dāna? Therefore, in dāna, we have to recognize two things. Your mental attitude, the thought behind the giving, and to who you are giving. The second part is the discretion, the viveka. When you do not know, you do not know. Somebody is coming to you and crying and telling, you may trust, you may feel that is true story. In that moment, you may feel, okay, this is a true story. Later, you may find out it is untrue story. Now, you have learned something. Next time onwards, you will probably recognize how to ask some questions to verify whether it is truth or not. For example, on the street, you will see many a times these women holding some babies and coming and crying in front of you, and the woman cannot also speak. She has a certificate in front of you. Now, in the beginning, you may trust, yo pavam, you may feel, you may give. Later, you start hearing different stories in the society. You also examine. You come to know that this is a big racket. So you learn how to distinguish. So that is a natural way you can learn. But when you are giving, what is your attitude? I am not the giver. I am just a conductor. It is with me. Everything with me is energy. And that energy can only grow by giving. So I give. May the best happen even when you're giving, when you do not know, even when you do not know. For example, Angulimala story. Take the Angulimala story. Buddha gave him the dāna of the jnana. Right? To who? To somebody like Angulimala. Now, of course, in Buddha's heart, there was complete trust that, it will elevate him. But to someone, it may look like, it may not, right? A killer. All along, he has been killing. How can such a person be elevated? So, what is the feeling in the heart of Buddha when giving? May this, whatever I'm offering, bring the best to the other person, the shreyas. So, whenever my attitude of giving is, I am not the giver, it's only through me it's happening. But what is a prayer I have when giving? May it bring the best in the life of the other person. Then, at least you are free. Whether you've given the right thing or not, to the right person or not, may the best happen. Because you are not in control. You do not know what you do not know. When you can know, apply discretion.
Yeah, this is the
But,
best possible approach. Yeah.
But one more thing, but when we say let the best happen, and I mean in whatever we are giving, then when we are saying such thing, there is no need to think or discriminate also, right? Sometimes.
Absolutely. That's where I'm saying. See, Karna gave. He did not think twice. Are they the right people, wrong people? He gave with a complete heart of, I'm giving it away. And may they do the best. Do they do the best? It is for their evolution. When you're given, whatever you're given, how you use is how you grow in life. So you know the story of KBC, Kaun Banega Karodpati. There was this guy called Sushil who won 1.5 crore or 7 crore rupees. And he was so, bright and so happy. And the other day only I was reading the story. He got into such bad debts, such bad habits, that he has lost all the money he earned there. So you see, even when money comes, or for that matter, anything is, what is money? Money is also energy. When energy comes, she is Lakshmi. The resource is Lakshmi. Without the energy of the Saraswati, Lakshmi will not stay. That is why first is Saraswati. You have to cultivate Saraswati in your life, the Shakti of Saraswati. Then only Lakshmi can be preserved. So therefore, when you are giving, you give with the full heart. But when you have a choice to make, see, if you have no such ambiguity coming in your mind, then the question is also not there. Have I given it to the right person or not? You have simply given, you have simply walked out. And you have no impressions left. When is the question going to come? When you have an impression. Did I give it to the right person? Then you apply the discretion. Okay, while giving, if possible, apply the right discretion. Otherwise, simply give. You will not even have a discussion about it.
Like we should not think after giving, like that's what you're trying to tell. I mean, we should not be
I should not
analyzing.
think after giving. I should not think after giving. There is a thought already. Oh, I should not be thinking. So there is a lot of thinking-based game here. For a thinking-based game, apply discretion. When the thinking-based game naturally drops, then you will naturally flow. Is that bringing clarity, Ashaji?
Yeah, yes.
As long as the thinker is there, apply right discretion.
Okay. Otherwise,
If I may add to that,
Yeah.
say there is a pipe, Ashaji. So the thinking is the block in that pipe. Okay. So the water will not flow freely, no?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You are trying to control the flow of the water with whatever ways, whatever is your basis for that flow stoppage. You are trying to block the flow. Whereas when there is no thinking, right, the tube will not try to judge, whether it is flowing into a gutter or whether it is flowing into the ocean. For it, it's just flowing, that's all. Where it goes, it's not concerned about that.
Yeah.
Any other point, Ashaji, from your side?
No, it's
Shubhaji, Shilpakalaji?
No, sir.
So Shubhaji has probably left. She
Yes,
said that she has to
Shubhaji
leave early.
left. Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Shilpakalaji, is there something that you want to add?
So, like when we were contemplating on this, initially, what I understood was depending on our action, means the intention. That if you do any action with purity and by using the right discrimination, it becomes sat. But now, like you explained, when there is a thinker who comes into the picture, then we, if there is no thinker, yeah, you give away, you do what you have to do without any, doubts in your mind. But when you have a doubt, that is when you apply your discretion. That is what I've understood.
Excellent.
And to add to it, there's nothing much to add. So normally during contemplation, I'm just listening and observing like a sponge. So the thought process is, I'm not thinking much, I'm just observing. So I don't know, like, yeah, I have to develop on that. So I don't know how.
No. No need to worry about it. The wonderful quality of the sponge is when somebody rings it, it will only drip what it has absorbed. So don't worry about it.
Okay, so
Yeah, just for an ending statement, maybe that blind faith that needs to be remembered as well. That I've heard about in other lectures. Question and until I have to be clear of what the teaching is, and it otherwise it can result in a wrong way also. And I cannot blame someone. I cannot blame the teacher saying, "Oh, the teacher said that," but if I don't get the right, if I don't get the context or the full message around it, then I may not be able to apply it. So, yeah, I just want to add that point.
Because the human mind has a natural ability to question and discriminate. That's a natural flow of the human mind. The intellect operates. So then only give the right jnana to the intellect and bring the right clarity into the intellect.
The examples given were like the terrorist, right? So they are also given this jnana that you do this, you will get in your next life, or right. So why do they believe so much that they go and do it? It is because that they blind faith, right? The person is not questioning, and he's just believing that yes, this is what will happen. I have been told, right? So
it's actually, there's a very subtle science to the art of military. In the military, right, to cultivate, see, what is military fundamentally? You have to be able to shoot at another person. Now, when you notice your own innate nature, a baby, nobody, like Padmaji, one of you said, nobody feels like harming a baby. Maybe you said it.
yeah.
Why? Because the baby has something that naturally silences in your mind. just the presence, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody in their, unless they are totally devastated in their, maybe through whatever substance or whatever, right? Even the cruelest of the cruel, we have seen that cheetah and
I
chimpanzee,
wanted to just bring that. It kills, but then the moment it sees the baby,
it protects, right?
completely.
So what happened? So something innate in you got triggered.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
However, to cultivate killing, they slowly start giving them. That's why booze and meat are freely flowing in military. Because alcohol reduces your ability to discriminate. Non-vegetarian food increases your rajasic qualities. Because the food you consume is the way your thought process, your feelings, and so many things, because it becomes a cellular memory. Food becomes cellular memory. You can definitely raise above it. All that is there with the right jnana. But for that, your instrument has to support you first. So when the instrument is cultivated in a way, see, that's why just notice around you. Based on the nature of the food that they eat, you can see nature of behavior, faith. Who is able to transcend? So please notice in and around you. So this is how you cultivate military behavior. But when it is imbued with the right feeling, of course it is needed. Not to say that, it is not needed. In an ideal world, it is not needed.
Yes.
But in the world that we live in, some kind of a protection mechanism is needed. Like the story of the snake in Ramakrishna's story. Ramakrishna, taught the snake to realize its divine nature. So it became totally sober, silent. It started getting attacked by people. And he said, I told you to be peaceful, not to harm others, but did I ever ask you not to hiss, scare others away? Because there are different elements in nature. So to learn to protect is important quality. Yeah, Asha, you have a question.
Vijayji, see, the same mind, when you see somebody else, like say child, you have that kind of feeling that you feel loud, or say suppose you feel that courtesy and such things come. But the same mind, but the same person has a totally opposite feeling or kind of thoughts when we see somebody else, right? But is it not contradicting? The same mind is having both the qualities.
It is not contradicting. It is essentially how it is. When you stand under light, you see light. When there is no light, you see darkness. So it is not that, there is something your mind is making up. That is how it is perceived, right? So therefore, what is the instrument of perception? The instrument of perception is your body. Now to your body, certain signals come. How they come? Through your five senses. In the presence of a child means what? The child is simply a presence. There is no ego in the child which is bringing up a certain attitude or a certain posture. Child is simply present. So therefore, in the presence of a child, you naturally feel silent. You naturally calm down. You relax. Because your ego is there to protect you in life. Your ego is in the game of protection. It is not a, we talk about ego in a negative way many a times. But ego is initially your protection mechanism. Like how the shell of a coconut is protected by the outer skeleton, the hard skeleton, right? So ego is your protection. So ego comes into protection. So therefore, then two egos are conflicting. Whereas with a baby, there is no one to conflict with. You have nothing to fight with. So you naturally relax. So you are seeing how divine is. What divine is? In the presence of a child, in the presence of a Sadguru also same thing happens.
Exactly.
Your mind naturally goes into silence. Why? Because Sadguru is no more an ego person. Sadguru, the word person I cannot use, but because to relate, Sadguru is an egoless person. Person in the sense of, you can see the external mechanism. But there is no personhood. You know who I am, you know what I've done, you know how great I am. All that has disappeared. That you know who I am, that is no more predominant thought process. Simply, there is a presence, an ever-living, ever-shining, divine presence. Among trees also you feel the same thing. Among plants also you feel the same thing. Among the animals also you feel the same thing.
In order to bring that shift, towards when it is not the case, like it is not a baby guru or tree. So to bring that shift, is it only the jnana, or
To bring the
what
shift,
else
the shift is your sadhana, where that is why first of all when we start, we do namaste. What is namaste? Am I bowing down to your body? Am I bowing down to the great ideas you have in your mind? No. I'm bowing down to the divine in you, the Paramatma in you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudeva. The one who is residing, Vasati iti Vasudeva. The one who is residing in you, the one who is ever shining in you. Bhagavan, who is part of all. But he seems like a part here in you. But he is actually all. He is the ever-shining presence. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. To such a divine, I bow down. Then I see that the divine is in you, but the mind and the body through which the divine shows. So depending upon the color of the window, that kind of a light emerges. Does it mean that the light itself is yellow or red or orange? No. Light is pure. But the glass through which it comes, it can have the color of that. So therefore, in your interaction, be aware of that divine, and in your heart, you do the namaskarams to the divine, but to the personhood that emerges on top of that, you apply your whatever the discretion that you feel at that point in time, and do it with an attitude that may this be the right conduct. Because there is no way to know, is it right or wrong? Because only when the big picture emerges can something be known. So therefore, at that point in time, I am a limited, helpless being who has to act. So may this action and may this speech, may this bring the best to all. That's all can be the prayer. So simply with that attitude, you do whatever is the right thing at that point in time. What is right? Whatever that occurs to you at that point in time, using your best discretion. Step back.
Right is the dharma.
Yeah. If you're done, if whatever you've done is dharma, you will naturally feel at peace. If you're feeling disturbed, then something needs to be learned. So if whatever you've done is the dharma, you will naturally be relaxed. Because dharma takes you towards health, peace, and happiness naturally. That is why Shri Krishna is saying even the conduct is sat. when it is dharma.
So that is the only measure. I mean, if I have to check back, look at me. So if I'm at peace, so what I'm doing is right. So that way we can measure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It cannot be in conflict. Doing versus feeling cannot
Being.
be in conflict. Yeah, yeah.
And
Also-
that one has to be your very natural and honest examination.
Yeah.
Nobody else can certify that.
Yes. Also, I just want to add this to this ego point. In front of a baby where there is ego less, the ego has no role to play and naturally drops because the idea of ego is like it's playing the role of a protection, and in front of others, not a baby, right? Even there, if I inspect, it is like in front of, let's say, my boss. If I want to show that, you know what, I am doing these things, the ego stands up. In front of a child, in front of my children, if I want to say, you know, how much I am loving, how much effort I am putting, the ego stands up. But if I don't have to do that, if I move into mode where, like, you know what, I don't have to prove to anyone. I don't have to show my feeling. Be natural. Then even there, I think the ego can come down and like one can be at more peace with others as well. To the point where Ashaji was asking, like, with others, when the other ego is up, okay, like how do you be there, right? Because the ego, whenever the ego is there, it's bringing the personality, or it's bringing the individual, and the whole sadhana is to be subtle and not grossly be present, right? And I feel that is because the ego shield, we raise the ego shield, and like now once I raise the ego shield, I am playing that role. I am there, kind of, right? So if I be myself, where the other ego can also drop in front of me. That is what I feel I experience in front of a Sadguru. When there is ego less, my ego drops down. So in front of others, I can do the same. Like, I drop my ego, and the other person doesn't see or comes down, because the other person's ego falls in front of me.
Yeah, because see, only we try to show in front of others, not, I
Yes.
mean, because baby is not understanding, we never even try to.
You are
show
not
what
trying
we
to
know.
impress. Yeah, I wanted to use the
we're not
word
trying
impress.
to impress.
Right? If you don't have impress your family member or your boss,
we don't even bother to think, okay, I have to do something in front of the child.
Yeah. So all even the social media profiles, you are building an ego to impress others, and it is just establishing something like which we are trying to move away from the truth. Right. So if I drop, I feel the other ego will also drop, and I think I've seen that as well. I think we all realize it also.
All right. Ashaji, anything else?
Yeah, so the thing is not to wait for other person to drop their ego. So it is better we work on ourselves.
You will never succeed, no, because you're
Yeah.
given away the power to the other person.
Correct, Vijay.
And there is no other.
There is no other.
There is no other also. Yeah, that also we often tend to forget.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So we'll go to the prayer part. That's why when we end our session, we again and again remind ourselves, because the impressions are so deep-rooted. So therefore, the only way to come out of this is removing those deeper impressions. And how do you do it? With the right thought process. And what is the right thought process? That which is truth. So this prayer is essentially, what it means is, let me see the truth. See, it doesn't have a constraint of a time and space. If you see the prayer, asatoma sadgamaya, take me from untruth to truth. Natural question is when, where. So all the time, all the places. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya, help me operate with the right jnana. Mrityorma amritangamaya, help me realize that which is true, undying in all situations of life. Then only it gets established. Otherwise, it is a mere repetition of the mantra, mere repetition of the Mahavakya. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. So something that is complete, it remains to be complete, irrespective of whatever change it is going through. Water is water, whether it is liquid or solid or vapor. Gold is gold, whether it is the necklace or the earring or whatever other ornament you make out of it. Gold has not lost goldness. So the divine is divine, and it is all that is. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevāvashishyate. Nanu nanembudu nanalla Ideha manabuddhi nanalla Satchidanandatma Shivananu nane Shivoham Shivoham Shivoham. Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi Pratyajyotihi Paratpara Jyotirjyotihi Swayam Jyotihi Atmajyotihi Shivosmyaham. Atmadarshanam Brahmadarshanam Brahmadarshanam Satyadarshanam. Atma is what? That which is my true self, which is not changing. What is Brahma? That which is not changing in this universe. How can there be two which is not changing? Atma is Brahma, and that realization is Satya. What is Satya? That which is not changing. If there were two Satyas, then they would be seeing each other. There is no two. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Sarvesham Swaster Bhavatu Sarvesham Shanter Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Who do you call as God? Someone who is giving to whoever is asking, wherever, at whatever time. So what is this prayer? May I have the same attitude in my day-to-day life? When all the time, where all the places. So when this is my attitude of life, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, then naturally you are nothing but the truth only. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hari Om. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ವಿಜಯ್.
Hari